like to call to order our regular meeting for September 7th, 2023. We'll now have the Pledge of Allegiance by Ms. Rosales.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Ms. Rosales. We will now have a moment of silence. Let's remember those people in Florida that are once again in the eye of a hurricane. Thank you. We will now move to the approval of the agenda. Okay. Thank you. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. We will now move for the approval of the consent agenda. Are there any questions or comments on that? I'll entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
Second. Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Is there anyone who wishes to abstain? Thank you. We will now move to visitors. We have one visitor. Have a Miss Brenda Johnson. Ms. Johnson, if you'll come forward. You have 3 minutes, and right there in front of you are some lights, which makes it easy for you to sort of see where you are in your speech. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Brenda Johnson, and my kids have been in Rutherford County School District for 7 years. And right now, they're in the custody of Department of Children's Services because of a truancy warrant. My 2-year-old is being held under the guise of the foster care system on truancy. 2-year-olds don't attend school. He is currently in the Department of Children's Services custody and foster care with an 8th grade public school teacher. While in the school teacher's care, his arm was treated by Vanderbilt for being broken. The school teacher explains a way that he locks himself in a dog cage while in her custody. My mother had gotten sick in January from a terminal infection, and we had to travel to Atlanta, Georgia. I immediately notified Blackman Middle School and Blackman High School to ask for both of my kids' work. The high school immediately gave me my son's schoolwork, but the middle school refused. I emailed the attendance officer, Gwen Dyer, and the 8th grade counselor to see what options did I have so my child would not miss her schoolwork. Gwen Dyer would not compromise with us. Gwen Dyer stated in an email for me to bring my mom's obituary, prompting for me and my sisters to email her back to let her know she was being insensitive at a time that my mother was on her deathbed. Gwen Dyer, nor the office will let me speak to administration because I told them, according to you all's school policy, at the discretion of administration, if a child has to be taken out of school for a fault that's not of their own, the school administration can decide and approve their absentees like the high school did. Gwen Dyer immediately told me to bring the kids back to school, but the 8th grade counselor said enroll them in virtual Rutherford County virtual school, which I did. Immediately, the middle school child was denied. So the counselor said enroll them in private school, and I did that too. Gwen Dyer, at the time, I didn't know she put a warrant out for me and a 14-year-old for truancy. I returned back to Murfreesboro with my mom in ICU and me getting a phone call that she had died in ICU But thankfully to God, she was brought back with the AED machine. So I was trying to live in two places at once. I would drive to come back home to let my kids attend public school, and I would drive 5 hours all the way back to Georgia when they got out of school to be at my mom's bedside. On March the 4th, my twin sister and I had a dispute, and I was assaulted by her, so the police came out to my home. I didn't know I had the warrant out, and my sister did because Gwen Dyer had mailed the warrant to my home when I was out of town. She told the police that I had a warrant, and I was arrested on truancy. Ooh, it's over with.
Thank you. We appreciate it, Ms. Johnson. Dr. Sullivan, number 8.
At number 8, we have RCS and Special Kids Contract Tab 2. Contractual agreement with Special Kids Incorporated. The contract with Special Kids Incorporated is for special education related and nursing services. These services will provide speech language, occupational therapy, physical therapy, and nursing services to Rutherford County school students and special kids facilities. Hourly rates for therapy are $82.50 per hour. Daily rates for nursing services are $185 per day. The total cost not to exceed $45,000 during the 23-24 school year will be paid for out of general purpose special education funds. Recommended motion to approve the contractual agreement with Special Kids Incorporated not to exceed $45,000 during the 23-24 school year and be paid from GP special education funds as presented.
Do I have any questions or comments? I will entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
Second.
Thank you. We've had a move to approve and second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed or wish to abstain? Thank you. Number 9.
So now we move to financial matters. This request is to fund 10 additional English as a second language teaching positions in order to bring RCS in compliance with the state of Tennessee ESL requirements. The Tennessee Department of Education requires a staffing ratio of 35:1 for ESL students, and RCS is not meeting this ratio in relation to total number of ESL students to teachers. This funding will be derived from an increase in TISA revenue to support new student enrollment. Recommended motion to approve 10 new ESL positions to meet state requirements of 35:1 for ESL students.
Do we have any questions or comments on this motion? I'll entertain a motion.
Move to approve. Second.
Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed or wish to abstain? Thank you. Number 10, Human Resources.
Number 10, Human Resources, Tab 3. So Wes Dozier from Gallagher was here to present insurance options to the board for 2024 at the work session. We have had some conversations this afternoon, and we are going to be able to move our open enrollment date. Our open enrollment will move from, we had originally scheduled it for October 1st through the 15th. It'll move to October 9th through October 23rd. So that'll allow this, my recommended motion, to postpone this to allow us to run a little bit more numbers till September 21st. And I will just remind the board, we'll look at all these options. With insurance, it is a budgetary item, so we have to keep budgetary items in motion or in line, but we also want to make sure we do as best as possible for our employees. And Dr. Anthony, I'll probably we'll get together and talk about, along with Ms. Bratton as well, possibly our insurance committee meeting as well.
Okay.
If that's possible next week.
Sure, that'll be fine. Do we have any questions or comments on this? I will entertain a motion to postpone.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed or wish to abstain? We will postpone this until September 21st. Number 11, Curriculum and Instruction.
So tab 4, Curriculum Instruction, Career and Technical Education Department would like to allocate approximately $15,000 of Perkins 23-24 funds to support Rutherford Works Ambassador Leads at 22 of our middle and high schools. Purpose of the Rutherford Works Ambassador Leads program would be to develop the instructional capacity of teachers, counselors, and assistant principals within our district to support the Rutherford Works partnership. The leads will be responsible for attending in-person virtual meetings and implementing the following opportunities at their fair schools: work ethic distinction, youth science, work-based learning, industry tours, college and career fair, 8th grade career pathway fair, and assist with the ACT Work Keys assessment. Allocations are each participant receives a $500 stipend for attendance and participation in professional development sessions led by Rutherford Works and the Career and Technical Education Curriculum Instruction Department. Recommended motion to approve allocating approximately $15,000 of Perkins Basic Grant Funds to support Rutherford Works Ambassador Leads as presented.
Do we have any questions or comments on this motion? Then I'll entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
Thank you. Do we have a second? Second. Thank you. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed or wish to abstain? Motion passes. Number 12, engineering and construction.
So tab 5, request for Blackman Middle Track Shed. Principal Jessica Jackson is requesting to purchase a shed to store track and cross-country equipment. The project cost is $6,500 and to be funded through track and cross-country funds. Engineering Construction has reviewed the request and recommends approval. Recommended motion to approve the purchase of a shed for Blackman Middle for use by the track and cross-country teams at no cost to the board as presented.
Do we have any comments on this motion? Any questions? I'll entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed or wish to abstain? Thank you. Next part.
Request for Blackman Middle baseball nets. Principal Jessica Jackson has requested to purchase nets for the baseball backstops to increase fan protection. Cost for the requested nets will be from the school baseball funds. Engineering Construction has reviewed the request and recommends approval. Recommended motion to approve the Blackman Middle baseball request for a backstop net at no cost to the board as presented.
Any questions or comments on this motion?
It's commendable that the baseball fund is allowing it to be used for basketball.
Very. Anyone else? I'll entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed or wish to abstain? Motion passes. Next.
All right, request for Rockville High football turf. Principal Steve Lukers requesting to begin the process of raising funds for the installation of a turf football surface. Anticipated cost at this time is $1 million. It will be funded through donations and fundraising. This request is at no cost to the board. Engineering Construction has reviewed this request and finds it to be similar to other schools' requests and recommends approval. Recommended motion to approve the Rockville High turf project at no cost to the board as presented.
Thank you. Any questions or comments on this motion? I will entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed or wishing to abstain? Thank you. Motion passes.
All right, Engineering and Construction Department's been working with our staff and county finance to provide a design and construction schedule to help the county facilitate the funding cycle for the Beatty property. The schedule is presented for approval to send to Health and Education and the Commission for approval for funding. We're requesting to begin site grading of the building pad in the fall of this year and begin the balance of construction in March of 2024. Recommended motion for Beatty property schedule will be presented to Health and Education for approval as presented.
Do we have any questions or comments on this motion? I will entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed or wish to abstain? The motion passes. Number 13.
Insurance update, other than what we just covered, anything else? Nope. Okay.
Director's
So
update.
director's update, we had our media meeting today. We had a couple news stations, couple just media outlets that were here, went over kind of how the zoning process or public input sessions are going to work. It's going to be a little bit different for those of you who have served on the board before. So we have 3 public input meetings, and one of them I need to make you aware of a change, so thank you, Ms. Sharp, for suggesting this. September 18th, we were going to hold at central office. Instead, we will hold it at Laverne High School. So September 18th will be at Laverne High School. September 19th, we will have a board work session at Stewart's Creek High School, followed by the zoning public input meeting at Stewart's Creek High School. 6:30 for that one. Yep, 6:30 for all of those meetings. Our work session will be at 5:30 at the normal time. And then Wednesday, September 20th is at Siegel High School, again, 6:30 start time. The way the format will work for those meetings is Rob with RSP will be giving an overview of kind of the process that we have gone through. Probably closer to about 30 minutes. We asked for 15 minutes, but based on how it went today, probably closer to 30. And then we will have between 4 and 6 stations set up around the gym or cafeteria where we happen to be, to where they'll be able to see concept maps of 2 different concepts. They'll have 3 different ways to be able to provide feedback. One, and probably the one that we're going to suggest the most, is via a new survey. It's called a MetaQuest survey that they use that gives a little bit of background, allows for what we really want is high quality feedback. We realize nobody wants their kid rezoned, and so we definitely empathize with that. Thinking about it already. But we also realize this is something that we have to do, so they'll have a QR code option, they'll have the option to speak with us while we're there, and then they'll also have the option to make sure that they can write it down if they're more comfortable with that on sticky notes. It'll be the exact same presentation, exact same format all 3 days. Had a comment today, will people have the chance to go to the mic and talk like we've done in the past? They can do that at any other board meeting, and I'll probably suggest having a special call when we actually vote on on the proposal as we get a little bit closer, so that option's always there. So that has really been the highlight. The State Department's hosting their Superintendent Study Council Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, depending on how the agenda depends on whether or not some of those topics need to be discussed, and I'll provide updates as needed after that. That's all I have.
What day is the one in Siegel High School? I missed that one.
September 20th.
20th.
September
20th.
I don't know about other board members, but I'm getting quite a bit of inquiries about this already. They're starting to get a little bit of anxiety.
Rightfully so. So we had all 3 interviews that I did today where you've done a lot to increase positivity and positive momentum. Are you ready for the negativity? I was like, well, unfortunately, it's part of it.
And don't forget, Dr. Sullivan, on Tuesday, we're releasing the concept maps to all media, all parents, so they can start seeing the concepts, but these are not the end result, they're the beginning. So they will start seeing those before the public input sessions.
Is that on the 12th, you said, Tuesday?
Yes, sir, Tuesday morning.
One thing is that I would ask the board to kind of look at as well at those. We are looking at most of them, and we keep calling it a transition plan because it is no just one simple solution to that. So it's a transition plan that takes a couple years to really see into fruition. There's a couple things I would maybe like for us to look at. One of the suggestions is to be able to go ahead and kind of repurpose the Roy Waldron Annex. And so if we could do that in some way before 2025, and we can go ahead and kind of shift some of that, that may be some things we can look at and not have to wait until 2025. But the areas that are impacted by the new Beatty Elementary would definitely want to be 2025, so we don't move kids and move kids. But when you see the concept maps, you'll see a lot of Roy Waldron Annex moves to Roy Waldron, some of Roy Waldron moves to Laverne Lake moves to John Coleman. And so if we could do that and use our facility at John Coleman, that would be my recommendation.
Ms. Rosales, do you have anything for us?
Well, before we go into my thing, I was going to ask one more question.
sure,
to
go
Dr.
ahead.
Sullivan about the whole RSP rezoning. Did we ask to look into existing land that we have, if we can do something to build maybe a middle school, high school, or something like that, and help as well with the overcrowding, instead of just going out there and buying land?
The only thing that they will have looked at is the ones that we kind of targeted with them, which is at Plainview and the Beatty property. But any other extra land, no, they have not looked at.
Okay.
That's something they can.
Yeah, that'd be great, because I know there's land over in Smyrna, about 30-some acres. I know there's a couple of other acres over by Siegel. I know the Matthews property, I know there's out of the, where we're at, I get that. But if we can look at what we have in some of the properties that we own, maybe we can create some kind of plan that can fold that into it as well, since we're having a very difficult time trying to find land right now. So that's just a thought and a suggestion.
Thank you. You have something you want to add on?
So I don't really have anything more to add than what I said last Tuesday. But we were at the steering committee
yesterday, and the IBD board did present some interesting information that I think that we all should listen to at the recorded meeting in the YouTube channel. It's kind of eye-opening how things are being vetted and how we're recruiting companies to come and how much of that really the school benefits and into all that scheme of scheme. Thank you for doing that, that data. That was really impressive to see it. So that's all I have to say.
It was very informative.
It was very informative, yeah.
Number 17, general discussion.
I have something I'd like to read. An 8th grader at Eagleville, Blaine Pointer, recently won a national contest called the Shakedown. The contest was held by Choose Different Media. Mr. Pointer's creative idea is titled Small Town Testimonies, which will help showcase incredible stories that occur in small town settings. The show will air on the Christian Television Network, and Mr. Pointer was gifted, this is an 8th grader at Eagleville, was gifted $20,000 to aid in the production of his own show after winning this contest and got a $3,000 scholarship. So Rutherford County students are doing all kinds of amazing things. I thought that story was incredible. I just wanted to share it.
Well, thank you. That's awesome.
It's cool.
We should highlight things like that.
Yeah, actually, I got it, yeah.
We'll be
You
going
did.
back
Last
to-
week. Mr.
Yep.
Thomas.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
We'll be going back to doing some of your student highlights and those kinds of things.
Now that the school year's here, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we've even had some requests for Jazz Fest, or not Jazz Fest, for jazz groups to present. I'm like, they're not ready yet. It's a little bit of time.
Let's give them
Need a little more practice.
Let's give them till midway.
Speaking of which, when we were working on Jazz Fest, the gentleman that works, Mr. Tom Christie and Ken Berger, have worked with a station that is exclusively jazz, and they told us to consider it Rutherford County Schools radio as well. They want to highlight our students as well. So I would like to, they want to have like a band member of the week, a singer of the week, artist of the week, but they would really like to use their radio station to promote Rutherford County Schools and the arts. So I just want to remind, see if we can,
Wow.
you know.
I think that's awesome. We need to,
One more thing.
yes, go right ahead, sir.
So only other thing that we will get back to doing our financial reports at our next September meeting. Revenue and expenditures are really slow during the July, August period. Only thing right now that really, we don't have a teacher payroll that hits till September. One good positive is that sales tax is actually up 2%. So we last month collected more sales tax than we had budgeted, and we actually budgeted it pretty conservatively. So that's a positive trend that I found out yesterday.
Awesome. We just need people to keep buying more.
It was not up 2.6 million to cover the insurance. Let me recover, it wasn't up that much.
Done. I was on the radio this morning with Brian, just very, very briefly, and of course, we discussed rezoning and what we're trying to do and how we're trying to work this so that all of our constituents and all of our community knows that we're doing this slowly and with lots of thought and putting lots and lots of compassion into this, but we need for them to know that we're doing this. So I talked about that this morning with Brian. Anyone else have some general discussion? We've
already
done
covered
number
open.
18, right? Do we have any other discussion at this time? This is a record. And I want
It would have gone longer had we had insurance.
I want this noted. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
To adjourn. Second.
We are adjourned.